so it doesn't feel right to continue to say we produce a really good product. People all over the world, we distribute to over 70 countries all over the world.
Yeah.
But that's not going to fly with our kids in the future.
No.
They're going to ask us, what did you do, for our future? What did you do to make the world a better place?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
exactly
I think, every brand needs to really be responsible for the end of life of their product. We can no longer create a product without knowing the end. Like there needs to be an end.
Exactly.
And we needed to know that because thinking about our children's children, literally, what are we gonna leave for them?
All right, so
The mum version.
I know you've explained this 1,000 times, Tina. You've recommended that you're going to start and kick off and give us the brief history of MANRAGS, and then Michael can give us the really in-depth, detailed backstory. How did you even get here? MANRAGS, it's so interesting as a business, and so much has changed in the last year, but I really want to know where it all started.
So I think the company is so far from what we originally set out to be. But when we launched MANRAGS, I had a 9-month-old on my lap, and Michael was working in corporate banking. He was pretty senior, and he wore these really loud, quirky socks, and all of these meetings about millions and billions of dollars weren't about that anymore. They were about his socks, and being at the time, at home with my little baby, I was doing all the housework and washing.
I helped.
Yeah. And I started to notice that these socks they're actually quite poor quality.
Yeah.
And, we thought we can do, let's do something like this.
Yeah,
and having a few startups in the past, starting a business wasn't something new to me. So, and I loved a challenge, and, we had some contacts overseas, and we were able to get our hands on some really high quality products. And so that's sort of how the company launched.
Yeah.
That's the backstory.
Yeah.
The brief explanation.
That's the brief explanation.
Brief explanation. I like it. I like it.
I'll give you the hour-long. Hope everyone's no. Look, I think that was part of it. One, underwhelming product in the market. Very confused price points. What we were seeing. We found ourselves with a really premium product on offer, and so we wanted to bring that into Australia. The next part of it was, how do we sell this? And so for us, this was a bit of I was wearing loud socks quite regularly. Very, you almost like the person that goes to to an event and someone comments on their outfit and they don't want to be...
conversation starter.
It is, absolutely. Absolutely, but you kind of go, well, you can't be seen in this again, which is a really bad mindset, by the way. So you kind of have to continue to evolve and buy more product and get more product, which, that's the materialism, consumerism mentality.
Sure.
We had two ideas. One was that we sell these socks, but the other idea was that we launched through a subscription model.
Yeah.
Subscription was very new in Australia. We were
This was back in 2016.
Into 2015, start 2016.
Right.
So we launched through a subscription model.
Yeah.
The rest is kind of history, but what essentially followed from there is we grew faster in Singapore than we did in Australia. Wow. So what we identified was our community was advocating our product, and that was growing us organically. Within 7 or 8 months, we hit 1,000 subscribers.
Great.
And within not too long after that, as we continued to grow, we launched our underwear, our matching underwear, and a lot of learnings that we had there. But we found ourselves that this was no longer a hobby and no longer just
our side hustle.
No longer the side hustle. It was, this is a real business and a real brand that we're building.
Yeah, that's awesome.
From there.
That's awesome. And ever since we've started working together, we've got an expression of interest campaign live now. Got the video. It starts to talk about Start With Socks, which you launched in September 2019. We get so many messages saying, how does this recycling program work and how can I get involved? And we're like, no, we're Birchal, we're hosting the offer, we're just doing this. But everyone wants to know how it's working. You've got this warehouse, which is back there, which is just got so much textile waste, which you're churning and turning over and basically turning into new socks. But just talk us through that, because the company's changed in a big way since that happened.
Yeah,
I'd love to know more.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I think last year we, we'd seen a number of things. We saw that competition was rife, which is great.
Yeah.
But we also started questioning our purpose, what we were doing, and our impact. And it all starts with me going through my sock drawer.
Sure.
And having 2 points. One is I look at the sock drawer, it's probably the biggest sock drawer in the country, and I say, what do I do with these socks that I no longer want or need? Sure. In Australia, there is no solution but to put them in the bin. We kind of go, oh geez, that's not good, and what about all the socks that we've sold, and what happens to those socks? And so we look into this a little bit further, and we find solutions, because that's what we do. We pioneer things, just like we pioneered subscription. And we pioneered essentially what was the world's first sock recycling program.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to solve for a number of things. One is we didn't want to see our products ending up in landfill. Two, we wanted to be very much different from people. And we do, Tina mentioned we started the brand with a 9-month-old on her lap. And 2 kids later, and we kind of go, what are we doing to benefit them for their future?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel right to continue to say we produce a really good product. People all over the world, we distribute to over 70 countries all over the world. Yeah. But that's not going to fly with our kids in the future. No. They're going to ask us, what did you do, for our future? What did you do to make the world a better place?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think every brand needs to really be responsible for the end of life of their product. We can no longer create a product without knowing the end. Like there needs to be an end.
Exactly.
And we needed to know that, because thinking about our children's children, literally, what are we going to leave for them?
Yeah, and so I think we launched Start With Socks, the world's first sock recycling program. We had intended to launch it to our customers only to solve a solution.
So they could send their old socks back.
Send their old socks back. So we're commercially driven. So for one reason, we want to clear out their drawers to make room for more socks.
Great.
Right? And because we know people want more socks, because it's been proven over the years. But on the other side of that, we don't want our product to end up in landfill, and we need to take responsibility for that. So we launch our sock recycling program, which provides us with the opportunity to either reuse or repurpose socks and create new yarn, or turn them into insulation, or do something with them. But we found a solution, we launch it. In true MANRAGS spirit, we go, well, why do we have to stop at our own socks? Yeah. Let's launch this to the Australian public.
Yeah, right.
And wow, what happens from there is, it speaks for itself. We engage with, tens of thousands of people around Australia who had identified this was an issue or not, and want to make an impact. And wow, there's now a solution for them. So we grow rapidly. We see our, things like our cost per acquisition drop by 97%.
Wow.
To market leading, market leading costs. But the flow on effect from that is that we then see that all these people who are recycling through us advocate for our brand. And we experience things like, we launched our women's socks a year prior to that. And in 1 month, we sold more women's socks than we had in the 12 months prior collectively. Because what we've
it was, I think,
huge.
the community and that we've grown on MANRAGS through Start With Socks and through our textile recycling initiative was just, it was such a strong community, an engaged community.
Is that part that they just don't feel like they're contributing to textile waste by purchasing MANRAGS because they know it's going to constantly go through this recycling loop? And that's what you're striving after, which basically, I mean, if we look at some of the numbers, it's 500,000 kilograms of textile waste in Australia a year? Yeah. And you've already got
55,000.
It was 50,000 just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I think we're up to 56,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's moving very, very fast.
That's incredible.
Our sock recycling program sorry, that's my boy. Our sock recycling program, to explain, it took us 4 months to divert over, 500,000 pairs of socks to the weight of 13,000 kilograms.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, we had all intentions of launching our sock recycling program in the US.
Yeah.
It's a market, 20 times the size, and we know that our solution is, and our offering is something that is in demand here in Australia, and we've had, US customers ask for a similar solution.
Yeah.
So on the 23rd of March is the day that we're supposed to launch in America. And
what a day.
What a day. And a few days prior to that and weeks leading up to that, obviously the world changes forever.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, that doesn't go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
And we bring forward our, what we had planned to do in July, which was our total textile recycling program.
Yeah, great.
And within 4 weeks, we divert over 15,000 kilograms of textiles. And, here we are today with, partnership requests left, right and centre. Customers continue to grow, People continue to advocate for the brand, the innerwear brand. And it's been fantastic. And, I think it's for us walking into work, ever since we launched this, we walk in with purpose and knowing that we're making an impact, but we're still very much commercially driven.
Yeah,
and we're seeing the fruits of what we do, and we're seeing commercially viable opportunities present themselves, which is, it just demonstrates that you do good and good things come.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I'm always interested to know why a business goes down the equity crowdfunding route, because essentially you become community owned and businesses become, really excited about the idea of having a big community. But this isn't your first time. You've already got a community, an ambassador army, basically, of investors who have come forth. And that raise was back in 2018. Yeah. So now you're coming back to the crowd. What's the reasoning? Why did you want to come back to the crowd again? Why did you want to offer them again the opportunity to buy into the company? Because you've had all this new growth. It's just always so interesting to really hear the kind of thought process behind it.
We are absolutely community driven, and that is to explain how much of a non-bullshit statement that is.
Yeah.
Our first hire after we raised capital 2 years ago was a community engagement manager. We didn't hire a salesperson. Actually, our first salesperson to come on board only came on board 5 weeks ago.
Really?
So we haven't been driven by sales. We've always been community driven.
Great.
And community engagement is core to what we do. When we pioneered subscription, it was we needed the early adapters to come on board and let people know, to share a message of this new recurring, subscription model. Yeah. It's very hard to do. It all makes sense now in 4 years on.
Sure.
But key to this, and from our last raise, we saw 60% of the investors that came on board were actually subscribers and from our community.
Wow.
So we know that our community is behind us. They back us. everyone on board so far, we would have to call them an early adapter or a pioneer as well. And it feels right to go, well, these people are actually focused on textile waste, focused on recycling solutions, driving circularity in product, driving change. Let's bring them on board. Let's do this together. As well as obviously there are larger, investors who are interested in sustainability, but we know our community is dedicated to this cause, so they deserve the right to, enjoy the benefits with us over the years.
100%. And you've seen all this growth since your last raise as well. So now investors can come back and when they ask you, Michael and Tina, what growth have you seen in the business? It's like, well, take a seat. Here we go.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen 4 times growth within 2 years. Yeah. In terms of customer growth, in terms of and we're still very limited in the products that we offer. Yeah. So we could see much more than that.
So you've got socks, you've got underwear.
Only men's socks and underwear. And we have a very limited range of socks for females, and we've, in the midst of COVID as well, we launched our children's underwear, which sold out.
No, socks.
Oh, sorry, children's socks. Apologies. Children's socks. Sold out. So there is still room, still opportunity there for a number of products. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen such exceptional growth. Surely start with socks and the textile recycling program, that's just going to continue to grow organically. And really, it's just a case of trying to keep up with demand. So this capital raise, which you're going through now, what's the oversight? What does it look like for an investor who's coming in now? And what do you want the company to look like in 12 months' time?
I think, we are in the world of, we're sitting in a place where the future looks very, very bright. The opportunity presented to us is great.
Yeah.
There's 3 key focuses that we've got for the next next phase of growth.
Yeah.
Before it all, we've outgrown our name.
Yeah.
And we've outgrown who we are. We were a men's subscription brand. MANRAGS made sense.
That's right.
Back then. We recognise that needs to change. We are now the country's only digital direct-to-consumer textile recycling brand, and we are a sustainable, innerwear brand on our way to become as circular as possible.
Yeah.
So we have kind of 2 offerings, and MANRAGS no longer makes sense for that. So that's number 1 after we get through the raise. We've been working on it for a while, but we thought we'd get through this phase first, and we've obviously been pretty busy with some.
Of course. I mean, yeah.
But the 3 key things are, our model demonstrates that, shows us that textile recycling as an offering produces great benefits commercially and environmentally. So our focus is to continue that growth and awareness on that. We've had a number of partnerships come to life with brands all over the country, uniform shops, uniform manufacturers, schools. All these people are looking for solutions to textile recycling, which we offer. So we look to kind of focus on that growth. We also know that our product is good, it can be better, and we actually don't have enough to offer our community. So the second part of this is investing in more product to ensure that our community has greater opportunity to buy sustainable innerwear. And so very, very quickly we see 43% of our customers who recycle through us purchase product.
Yeah.
The 57% are not purchasing product predominantly because we don't have product to sell them.
Yeah, exactly. But they want to buy into MANRAGS or whatever you're going to become eventually. Yeah, of course.
So we know that we need a greater range. For example, we know that, from our sock recycling programs, that Australians have a lot of ankle athletic socks and ankle socks. Yeah. So we don't offer that today, but we know because we sort through all these products, what is in demand. So we want to bring that to life. That's kind of the second pillar. And the third pillar is probably a learning from our first raise, and takes a bit of experience, but it's not our first rodeo. And we know that what underpins a successful investment is people and processes. And so, I've shared with you, we're in warehouse number 2 right now, which we've had for 2 months. And, we're going to outgrow this very quickly. So there's we need a larger premises, we need to focus on sustainability and bring it all in-house. We need the people to support that. Our team's only a tight-knit team of 7 now. For something pretty pioneering, you'd think that'd be a much bigger team. But we know we do require more resources, and there's a large portion of our investment is focused on we are diverting textiles from landfill, but we're not recycling here in Australia. What investments need to be made for us to ensure that we don't need to go offshore to recycle, and that what we produce is done here in Australia?
Yes, such a key point.
To be honest with you, the thinking isn't in that part. There is a large economic thinking to it, but the most important part is, by us shipping things all over the world, especially when it comes to containers, the greenhouse gases and the carbons that we're setting off, we need to think about that. So what can we do here to prevent that? So there's a large focus on that. So it's really increase awareness on our textile recycling, increase our product offering, which is what helps us create commercial viability, and then underpinned by processes, operations, and sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, Tina, you said Michael goes into detail. It's just such an incredible level of detail, though, which even I personally, having worked with you for a long time, don't know all of this, which really goes on behind the scenes, which is so interesting, which is why I'm glad.
It can go on for a lot longer.
I'm sure. But actually, I think it ties into probably a question for you, Tina, which is product differentiation and some of these competitors. You've announced that you've got other businesses which are in this space. Maybe they're not direct competitors because they're not doing exactly what you're doing here. But that's your main driver here?
I think, when we first launched the company, our number one, what made us different from our competitors was that our product was of such a high quality. We used really fine cotton, which was long staple, and it was really durable. That was our number one differentiator. Fast forward to now, no other company is, no other sock company or innerwear company is really looking at the the end of life, or they're not taking responsibility for their product. So we're saying buy our socks, and when you're done with them, send them back. It's this we've pioneered that. So I think that's our number one. That's what sets us apart now. And in the next few months, you're going to start seeing our socks coming back, which have recycled cotton in them, which is so exciting. There's no more virgin cottons being used. So that circularity is starting to already come through. That's incredible. I'm so excited for this to launch. And then, when we start to increase our offering and start to offer like women's innerwear, new underwear, we're going to... what we're working on, which I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about, so I won't. But what we're working on is just, it's groundbreaking. And
I think you could share a little bit about some of the options that we've explored.
So I guess the number one thing is we still don't, there's still no option for textile recycling for underwear. And so we're looking at some of the materials that we're actually developing at the moment will be completely home compostable. So at the end of life, you literally will compost them. And there'll be lots of testing done with how long it will take, but it's not going to take that long at all. It's going to be incredible. And so there's a lot of, so we've got lots of things in the pipeline. It's just a matter of, when it all happens and
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Which is really cool.
That's amazing because I mean, even back home from the UK's perspective, and where I would go to a charity, like you go to a bank to basically just open it up and put your clean clothes in, but obviously there's no socks, no underwear, nothing dirty, nothing ripped. It's got to be resold effectively, so it's got to be able to be reused. Whereas you're taking an old product which is knackered and giving it a second life, and that's the whole. That's what puts this in a completely different market, really, and a different game.
Yeah, no, I think the interesting thing with that is, we've sat down a lot over the last 9 months and really questioned what we're doing, how we're doing it, what next. Sure. No doubt things, COVID threw a spanner in the works and a curveball at us. But there is this one point that we stay true to, and it's we're no longer looking at we're no longer focused on what other people are doing, or what other brands are doing. We're setting the scene. We're out there to demonstrate that sustainability equals success. That people, planet, profit is real. We've done it very early. We're not by no means ready to stand on top of a mountain and yell it. But that's our goal, and that puts us in a different mindset when you kind of think about competition and what next, and how to be better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've covered so much, and I almost feel like there's nothing else to cover. But Michael, you might have a topic which maybe we haven't spoken about. Is there anything else which you feel I should know, or a potential investor should know?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest one for us is, we have a model for recycling, and we've only focused on a direct to consumer. Traditionally, direct to consumer models are the most expensive. What we've seen play out most recently is brands from all over the country, start to reach out to go, how can we become more sustainable? And so we've found ourselves in this position where not only can we be the leaders and we are the pioneers in this space, but we're on a journey to almost become the authority in this area.
The enablers.
The enablers. And being the enablers, it creates a level of opportunity beyond what we're ready for. And we've had a number of charities contact us. One of the charities is spending $6 million in dumping textiles into landfill alone. And they've said, well, how do we work with you to provide a solution for this? I think we've also seen, as I showed you downstairs earlier, there are boxes of brand new product where shops would normally split them, put them in the bin and get rid of them. And now they're kind of looking at us go, how can we ensure that we keep them out of landfill and utilize our reuse, repurpose, recycle? The opportunities presenting themselves are coming in fast and very fast. I think it's a matter of us saying, we're very much focused on what we're doing at the moment. We need investment to grow this and do it right, and hopefully we're not in a position to not have to say no to people or a not now, because the sooner we can make a greater impact, the better. Absolutely. And I've been blown away by the level of interest, even since we first opened up the Expression of Interest campaign. And honestly, I'm just really excited to be opening the investment offer next week. By the time we actually get to launching this, I'm sure we might already be open, which might present people the opportunity to invest and own shares in MANRAGS now at this exciting stage which it's at. So I think I'm fairly certain that kind of concludes every question which I have personally, but is there anything else which you want to finish with? No, look, I think we're just really excited. We're happy to get to the point where we open for investment and bring people on board, and maybe we can have a celebration wine at the end or something.
Not me.
Not
Thanks for rolling it in.
I'll have Tina's glass of wine.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Look, it's been so exciting, guys. I genuinely love sitting down and hearing startup stories, especially in Australia. Everyone focuses on that for-profit, for-purpose model a lot more than they do back home in the UK. I think that's what makes equity crowdfunding just work so well down under, because everybody who's coming in and wants to be an investor in your business is just so aligned with that. They really want companies to start showing, start answering to some of the biggest problems that we have. It's startups that do that, because it's startups that change the game and change what's going on in the world. So it's been great to sit down with both of you. I'm so excited to launch this next week, and maybe this week. We don't know, but either way, it's been fantastic.
Thanks, mate. And
thank you.
Enjoyed working with Birchal very
Absolutely.
much. Looking forward to getting it all going.
Me too.